Hallo, wie geht's? Welcome to this week's podcast. Today I am joined by a lovely host, Forza R18,
Hello.
and, of course, our official family correspondent, Roblo97.
Guten Tag, howdy gets? Oh, I've messed that up already, haven't I?
Yeah.
It's going so well in Roblox, yeah.
It was.
Oh,
You can't
dear.
help being awful at German, can you?
Meine Deutsche ist schlecht, so.
I feel like every week we start, it's Rob trying to speak German, like every time.
And it always goes wrong, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what
Gotta
doesn't
have a consistent pattern, I guess.
go wrong in Rob's life?
Everything goes Everything goes wrong.
Everything is a cartoon in his life.
Everything's
Yes.
just a meme.
Yeah.
It would appear so, yeah.
Living meme.
You are a living meme, Rob. A living meme. Yes.
Hooray, oh, you're so kind, thank you.
Yes, and continuing on the note of failure, we shall start with the absolute snorefest that was the Spanish Grand Prix. Actually, no, the Spanish Grand Prix, should I say.
Spain-ish.
Yeah.
Yes,
Wait, there
because they started off the race weekend on a bad note because they couldn't even spell Spanish correctly.
I know. Hold up, let me find that picture. If I can even anymore.
It's lurking somewhere. Go find the Alfa Romeo feed, it's probably up there.
I got it.
I was gonna say, there was a Formula 1 race on at the weekend.
Who cares?
Yeah, well, it bears repeating some results. So, rather quickly, I shall mention that Lewis Hamilton had the pole, and he won. Yeah, there you go. Valtteri Bottas was second, so was a Mercedes 1-2. Max Verstappen finished on the podium, so he brought home some points for Red Bull, and he was his first podium of the season. Hamilton scored his 64th career win, and he leads Sebastian Vettel by 17 points now, and Valtteri Bottas is now 20 points behind Sebastian Vettel in third. And pretty much the only drama of the race came with the opening lap spin of Romain Grosjean and creating the most spectacular smokescreen. Unfortunately, everyone couldn't actually see, so he got plowed into by Nico Hülkenberg in the Renault and the Toro Rosso of Pierre Gasly, who had nowhere to go. So that took out 3 cars in the opening lap. And then after the safety car went in, it was kind of pretty much, that was what she wrote, really. The only other drama coming in the form of Kimi Räikkönen falling out after running 4th, with a power unit issue. And Esteban Ocon had a similar power unit issue. I shouldn't say similar because I don't have the same power units, but he had a power unit issue regardless. And Stoffel Van Dorn had a gearbox issue that put him out of the race. So, with all that said and done, 4th was Sebastian Vettel for Ferrari. 5th was Daniel Ricciardo in the Aston Martin Red Bull Racing Tag Heuer. 6th was Kevin Magnussen for Haas, so salvaging some points for them. 7th was the Renault of Carlos Sainz Jr. 8th was Fernando Alonso, scoring points for McLaren. Sergio Perez was 9th for the Sahara Force India, and Charles Leclerc again scoring a point in 10th. So once again outshining his teammate where he belongs in the Alfa Romeo Sauber. So yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing much more to be said about the F1. So yes.
Yes, and moving on, should we do a bit of IndyCar news?
Yeah, let's go to the more exciting race that was a single-seater. Yeah.
And, well, the less exciting race was actually the Super Formula for Mortopolis, in fairness, because that never actually happens.
Still more exciting than F1.
True.
Anyway, well, actually, the race that didn't happen was actually more eventful than the Spanish Grand Prix because, well, everyone could see what was going to happen.
Right.
Yes. But anyway, going to the IndyCar Grand Prix at the Indianapolis road course. We had Will Power starting on pole in his Team Penske Chevy, and that was his 51st career pole, and Robert Wickens starting on the outside of the front row, and Sebastian Bourdais was third, James Hinchcliffe was fourth, Jordan King was an impressive fifth, and Joseph Newgarden rounded out the Firestone Fast Six. And qualifying threw up more surprises because all the favorites, meaning Simone Pagenaud, who was the only other winner besides Will Power there, was outside the Fast Six, and Scott Dixon started tail end on the field with 18 on Saturday afternoon, I believe, was when he was starting.
Oh wow.
Yeah, both of the Chip Ganassi Hondas weren't very good on that day because Ed Jones was starting 15th, I believe. So yes, they had a horrible qualifying on Friday.
Oh wow. Yeah, it was, the start of the race was quite interesting as well, where the track narrows at turn one from the massive width of the banking.
I still think it would be quite fun to see them run the banking in turn one, but that's just me.
Same here, to be honest.
Counterclockwise, yeah.
Yeah, but it was absolutely. It was quite weird because there was an incident involving Pagenaud and Jordan King on the opening lap, and I think Pagenaud may have been pushed wide by one of the Penske cars, and then King had nowhere to go, really.
Yes. They being squeezed by Takuma Sato, and, well, pinball effect happened there on in, and Castro Neves went into Pagenaud, and Pagenaud went into Jordan King, who was instantly in the sand at turn 2, and, well, that was kind of the foreboding for ECR's day there, because not soon after that, Spencer Pigot decided he fancied going over the curbing and took a flight for a bit. And spun into the, ironically, I think, Takuma Sato again. So, yeah.
Oh, dear. I mean, it was actually around that point that I did actually mute the commentary, upon realising that it was not the NBCSN coverage we quite like here at GTHub.
Yes, the
ESPN.
Passable Alan Bestwick and the idiotic inane ramblings of Scott Goodyear and Eddie Cheever. Yeah.
Oh, that's who it was.
Yes.
Well,
yeah, don't worry. You just have to put up with them for the Indy 500 and for the Detroit races, and then they'll be gone.
Yay! I was going to say, I actually turned the volume right down on my headset and just listened to Spotify on my phone.
I mean, fairness, probably better insights from music, yeah.
Better insights from heavy metal.
True. Could be worse.
You'd probably get better insight listening to System of a Down.
Yeah.
Probably.
Much better insight. Yes, but it was a pretty decent race, actually.
Well,
in IndyCar.
kind of hard to beat the new Aero kits, really. They seem to do quite well with making passing, yeah. Unlike the F1 cars, yes.
Something which F1 has actually suddenly decided that taking a bit of downforce off the cars might, you know, work.
Eh. They'll just put wings on the side of the car, it doesn't matter.
They'll put a wing on the driver's helmet.
In fairness, I did like the ingenious design from Ferrari over the weekend with the wing mirrors on top of the halo. And then the FIA went, no, you can't run that at Monaco. I was like, what?
I don't think it was that the FIA said you couldn't run at Monaco. It was the winglets on top of the wing mirrors that I think were causing the consternation.
Oh, well, whichever one.
But either way,
Either way, I thought it was quite ingenious for them to read in between the lines there and go, huh, we can hang the mirrors off of the halo. Yeah.
yeah.
But no, it's not gonna happen anymore because they're no fun. Yeah, I don't know. They're gonna get rid of the complex front wings and make the rear wings smaller, and they're like, that'll help our problems, right, guys? No, it won't, because they'll just make aerodynamic side pods and barge boards. It's not gonna do anything, really.
Yeah, they really... Oh dear, they really thought these regulations through well, didn't they, at the time?
You cannot outthink an F1 aerodynamicist. I know Ross Brawn is brilliant, but Adrian Newey's just gonna go sit there on his drawing board or his tablet or whatever he does these days, because I know he likes to draw on actual paper.
Yeah.
But he's just gonna sit there for hours on end and just go, how can I get around this new wing regulation? And he's gonna make some sort of trick rear end on the car or something. It's gonna be complying to the rules, but just barely. It's not gonna work.
Oh dear, the joys of Formula One. Right there.
Exactly. But going back to IndyCar, it was a battle pretty much between the race, between Will Power and well, early on it was a battle between Will Power and Robert Wickens in the Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports Honda, but he and James Hinchcliffe had started quite well, and well, that didn't last very long for Hinchcliffe, I don't believe, but he got past. Went back in the field. However, Robert Wickens was a constant presence at the front, challenging Will Power, and surprise, surprise, throughout the race, starting from the back was Scott Dixon, but he would not stay at the back for very long.
No, because quite quickly he was already ahead of Simon Pagenaud and Jordan King within about 3 corners, if that.
Yeah, with what they so eloquently described as the kitchen sink setup, after being so far behind originally, yeah.
Yes, i.e. completely change everything and hope for the best, I think.
Seems it worked, because in the warm-up they were quite fast and went, huh, we actually got something here, guys. Yeah. Plus, Scott Dixon is known to be quite frugal with his fuel, and turns out that was a key, because it vaulted him from nowhere to being third on the penultimate actually no, on the final restart. That was the deciding factor, really.
Oh yeah, because it was Newgarden who caused the final caution period by I think he spun at the opening corner, took too much curb coming in. I mean, fair play to Sebastian Bourdais for giving him plenty of racing room, and yeah, Newgarden just driver error, I think.
Yeah, that was actually what that was. Over optimistic move there by Newgarden, and sort of just clipped it, and he spun and stalled, and that brought out the caution, which brought Robert Wickens and Scott Dixon into the fold again. And on said restarts, it was Scott Dixon who made a move around Robert Wickens to take second. And from there on in, it was a challenge between the Penske and the Chip Ganassi's again. So, yeah, battle of the heavyweights commenced at Indianapolis for the win, but inevitably it went down to the dominant team and the dominant car, which was, well, once again, Will Power at the Indianapolis road course, and gave Team Penske its 200th IndyCar win.
Yay. Very, very big achievement for them.
Penske perfect.
Indeed, Penske perfect.
Oh, yes.
And
Very much
it
perfect.
came down to 2.2 seconds at the end. It was also Will Power's 33rd win. in his IndyCar career.
Including his champ card days as well.
Well, they're all the same, really. Yeah.
Yeah.
IndyCar, champ car, they get rolled into each other, like IMSA does. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the 33rd win in Will Power's career, 200th win in IndyCar for Team Penske, and Robert Wickens held on for third, with Sebastian Bourdais finishing fourth, and Alexander Rossi coming from seemingly nowhere as well, and after he was out to lunch in qualifying, to finish fifth, with a comeback from one Helio Castroneves to finish sixth, to start off his month of May on a good note.
Yes, after ending his previous month of April on a good note.
Yes, after finishing the month of April on top of the podium with Ricky Taylor, so bringing home a Penske win for Acura Team Penske in the ARX 05s, and that should put him in good stead coming up, actually, with the Pennzoil Special, I think it is.
Oh, they're getting the old Pennzoil livery back out for Helio at the Indy 500 this year.
Yes, he has the yellow submarine for 500, and this weekend he was in the silver Verizon colors. In fact, all the Penske cars were silver Verizon colors, besides Simone Pagenaud, who was the bright fluorescent Menards car. Yeah.
Yes, and Sebastian Bourdais' front wing slightly resembled my football AstroTurf trainers.
Yes, they were very much OSHA approved.
Oh yes, definitely OSHA approved. I think OSHA would also approve of his safe driving in giving Newgarden plenty of room as well at turn 1.
Yes, no accidents to be had there, not at all.
No need for the OSHA tape off the front wing.
Very safe driving they had.
Maybe that's why he is secretly sponsored by OSHA.
Secretly, yes. Except it's actually Sealmaster Bourdais, yes.
Yes, surreptitious sponsorship.
Hashtag Sealmaster Bourdais, yes.
Yeah.
Everyone trend that, yes, whenever you mention Sebastian Bourdais. Will Power was first, like I mentioned. Scott Dixon was second. Robert Wickens third. Fourth, Sebastian Bourdais. Fifth was Alexander Rossi. Helio Castroneves was sixth. James Hinchcliffe seventh. Simone Pagenaud eighth. And ninth and 10th were the Team RLL Hondas, Graham Rahal and Sato. And breaking news, actually, from just 3 hours ago, in the fact that the number 19 will be continued to be driven by Zachary Clayman de Mello and the Indy 500.
Yes. This being after Pietro Fittipaldi, the original driver of the car, broke both his legs in his accident at Spa-Francorchamps in qualifying.
Yep. Very horrendous accident that was, but
Yeah.
Dale Coyne didn't have to look very far to find his replacement driver, because he went, "Oh, you have pay-safe money with you, do you? Oh, be my driver." Yeah, because Clayman de Mello's the other driver in the 19. Because apparently it was between him and Sebastian Saavedra. With any other Indy Lights driver waiting in the wings, but Juan Pedro Hida did not have the experience. But he had lots of cash. But he didn't get the drive. But he's apparently being considered for some testing outings, so we might see him in a Dale Coyne car yet, perhaps.
What? Dale Coyne turning down a driver with money?
Because he doesn't need any money. Yeah, no, it's a first, isn't it?
Yeah, I was trying to compute that for a second.
Don't
Dale
worry, you'll
Coyne
see
money
him
comes
in
in.
the Pippa Man car
Yeah.
later on in the season, perhaps. But yeah, that's some breaking news as well. So that means we still have 35 cars for bumping for the Indianapolis 500.
Get in there.
proper qualifying in just a week's time, actually. Yeah, next week will be qualifications. Actually, no, not next week. This weekend. My bad.
Yes, and we'll be doing a full preview of the Indianapolis 500 next week, I believe, as well.
Yes, I plan on it.
Excellent.
We will see who made it in and who were the two unfortunate people to not make it in.
Oh, yes, we will.
Yes, but that was the IndyCar done, and practice is ongoing as we speak, and the rookie orientation for Zachary Clayman DeMello actually was morning, I think, or this afternoon, Indianapolis? Not quite sure. Someone would know on the chat, I think, if they were watching it. Maybe that's what they're doing right now if they're not watching us.
They should watch the simultaneously.
But that's... Well, if they're watching the IndyCar and not watching us, then it's totally excusable. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's happening today, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. Yeah.
Cool. So I'll be missing a couple of days of it for reasons that will be explained later.
Ah, yes. Well, not a couple of days of it, just Friday.
Well, and most of Thursday,
Oh, right, yes. Yeah, my bad.
because I'm flying out Thursday afternoon.
Yes. More on that later. But from IndyCar, we go into the biggest news that you're all waiting for, and I'm sorry that we kept you waiting for this long, quite frankly, and that was the ADAC Zurich Nürburgring 24 hours that happened this past Saturday and Sunday.
I think my body clock is still readjusting to normal time.
Normal time. What is normal time, really, anyway?
Well, given that I was still up at 3:15 this morning, I don't know either.
Yeah. And on that note, yeah, we shall go into the sleepless nights that were the for many teams heading into the weekend. And first we start with the top 30 qualifying for the race, which saw Lawrence Van Thor and Mansai Racing in the number 911 3R lead a Porsche 123 in qualifying with an 809.105, which saw 4 cars break the 8-minute 10 barrier for the first time in the top 30 qualifying session in the race. And second was Sven Muller in the number 44 Falcon Motorsports car with an 809.522, and Norbert Siedler was third in the number 31 Fricadelli Racing Team 911 GT3R with an 809.824. And the fourth car to break the 810 barrier was Maro Engel in the number 4 Mercedes-AMG Black Falcon car with an 809.916 lap, which put him 4th fastest.
Yeah,
and
also,
sorry, go on.
so I was going to say, because they put the onboard from Vantor's pole lap on YouTube afterwards, and it was absolutely amazing. Just like some corners, like say Metzgersfeld or Schwedenkreuz, it was literally a case, he was just lifting slightly and then turning the car in.
Yeah, he went off on his first lap, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, because he had all the grass and crap in the front grille.
Yeah, well, that stopped him. Recovered and put in a massively quick lap. The Flying Glickenhaus, there we go.
Put on a little slideshow.
Very lovely. Yes, look at you being all fancy pictures today. But the SP9 LG poll, the LG standing for Last Generation, was fifth fastest in that was the 007 Aston Martin Racing V12 Anti-GT3 of Nicky Team with an 8:10.020, which actually would have put him on pole for last year's race, which is quite interesting to look at. But it was only fifth fastest this year, so we've moved on quite quickly in just a year's time. And also, the only other class to make, or the only different class to make it into the top 30 qualifying was the SPX pole sitter, which was the number 35 G-Tronics 360 theme Renault RS01 of Heiko Hemmel with an 8:15.354, which only put it 26th fastest. And there were only 2 cars on SPX, and the other one being the Glickenhaus, and that was 28th fastest in the top 30 qualifying.
Quite surprising.
And, yeah, actually, funny enough, quite surprisingly, none of the Audis showed up in qualifying, and neither did the Glickenhaus because it was very slow. So pre-race BOP saw the Audis given a weight break and the Glickenhaus given a weight break and some more speed, which served it in good stead when the race came around. However, before the race, in qualifying, there were 2 withdrawals. Actually, well, yeah, there were 2 withdrawals with accidents, being the first coming from the number 101 Walkenhorst Motorsports M6 of Jordan Tresson having an off in a massive way, really, ripping off the front of the car and the rear of the car to reveal a shell of what was once a BMW M6. I don't actually remember where he crashed, though. Thing about the Nürburgring, can never remember most of the corners. I'm not proficient in Nürburgring turns. But that was the first accident in qualifying 1, I believe. How was it No, it was qualifying 1, yeah. Qualifying 2 was the second massive accident, which involved the number 89 MSC Sinzig Audi TT. That had a... I think it was at the Flugplatz, wasn't it?
Who?
The
green Audi TT.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
It's the one where he rolled it, I think, and one of the GT4, was the SP8 class Aston Martins went through. Just about.
Underneath it, practically, yeah, as it was flipping end over end. I think it was Flugplatz. If not, it was near it, close enough, yeah. But it got lights and lost it and went straight into the tire barrier, which flipped the car in the air, actually, which caused it to roll front over back and nearly take out one of the Astons, like Rob said. And that took that car out of contention, so that was the second withdrawal from the race. And the third one was the number 64 Black Falcon Team TMD Friction 991 Cup car, or Porsche 991 Cup car, for a mechanical issue that they actually didn't specify. So that had a mechanical issue. And those were the only 3 withdrawals from the race. So that left us with a grid of just 147 cars.
Disappointing.
Here we go. This is the accident. Yeah, it wasn't second qualifying for that Audi.
Yep.
I actually think that was the GT3 Aston that went through there.
I thought it was a GT. I thought it was an SP8 car because I think I remember reading something about it on Twitter at the time on the drivers.
You might be right there. Yeah, I just saw the giant wing and figured it was a 3 car, but yeah, the SP8 had an equally massive wing on it.
Yeah, because there was the SP8 Aston Martin GT8, and then there was the GT4 spec car that had Alex Lynn, Johnny Adam, Jamie Chadwick, and Peter Kate driving. Yeah,
no, it wasn't the second factory car. It was the Aston Martin Performance Center GT8 one. Yeah, I think that was the one that it was. That went under the flipping Audi there. But besides that point, yes. That was the qualifying settled, and pre-race BOP was given to Audis and the Glickenhaus and one more I think. BMWs I think was given a BOP as well. If I remember correctly. But yes, that was the qualifying. So now we move into the race proper. Which...
Yeah, that was a really good, interesting start to the race as well. Unfortunately, I missed it because I think I was asleep at the time before getting some extra sleep in before work. So I think it'd probably be best if you fill us in on that.
Yes, somehow you ended up in the position you missed the beginning and the end, somehow. I don't understand how that works, really. You missed the two important bits, but only saw the bits in between that, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works, Rob, but, okay. Well, actually, what actually happened at the start? I don't remember. Pensa, what happened at the start?
I don't remember. Nothing really.
That's how uneventful the start was. None of us remember.
The Porsche, the 911, like pulled away.
I know the Manti Porsche started from the front. Yeah, obviously. So let's go with that. Yeah.
I'm going off what you two are saying because I was still asleep at the time.
The first hour, there wasn't really much happening, as far as I remember.
Well, as it should, really. They were just settling into a rhythm, really. Well, actually, no. I don't, actually remember any action happening in the first hour, because it was quite calm.
The first, crash was, 2 hours in, with the 48 spinning at turn 2.
Ah, yes, the Team Man filter Mercedes. The proper Man filter Mercedes, not the red and silver and black one.
Yeah. Had a little oopsie where it looks like someone directly crashed where the 48 crashed.
Which also wouldn't be the first time someone crashed there in the race either.
Yeah.
Someone would follow, ironically, into the 48's tire tracks later on in the race, actually.
Exactly, yeah. That was...
But yeah, that was the first notable there. Later on, we had the BMW showing pace throughout the race, throughout the middle stint, challenging the Manti Porsches. The Aston Martin was showing pace throughout, actually, which is quite funny with the old car. So it just proves that BOP, I guess, does work, at least when the VLN guys are in charge of it. So... actually, funny enough, I had actually found out before the race started that one of the people who used to work for IMSA on their competition side is now in charge of overseeing the VLN BOP. So I guess that must be why it's working.
Seems like it.
And that's the Fricadelli Racing Porsche colliding with a BMW and going rear first into the barrier.
Yeah, that was the first.
Don't worry about the BMW; they'll make it through there.
Major crash of the session. 3 hours in.
3 hours in, that was fine.
And
2 hours in, sorry.
Oh, good, you're playing the highlight video.
Yeah.
Yes. So you can refresh my memory, because that was, I can't remember most of it. I can remember, however, the number 8 WRT Audi going out in spectacular fashion. Yeah.
Oh, that was with
but that was
Dries
later on in the
Bantel
night.
On Dottinger Her.
You forgot the best part of the entire race, which was one of the TCRs crashing and the tire just tumbling onto the track.
How could I forget? Yes, the Opel Astra TCR losing
Oh, it's a different one.
No, left rear tire, actually. That was the... Oh, it was this incident, I think. Yes, it was this incident. Dropping wheels and spinning into the barrier. It almost got away with it, but sadly it didn't. And then the wheel left his wagon and proceeded to roll away. And indeed, and there she goes, rolling away from it. Somehow no one hit the tire, actually, which is more amazing to me. But not quite as amazing as the very helpful marshals there, who proceeded to pick up the tire and put it in the passenger side of the car as it was towed back into the garage.
I think here in Bleakmolen at Baltimore once in the old ALMS days, actually a wheel came off his Porsche GT3 Cup car and he actually had to go and pick the tyre up, stick it in the passenger side of the car and then try and drive back to the pits.
Actually, he did, yeah, and he made it back. They bolted the tire back on. He came back out for qualifying. Yeah.
And Tom Surston in the chat reminded me of the V8 supercar race where the wheel ended up landing on the tyre barrier. I still remember Barry Sheen's commentary from that. Oh, it's a control tyre.
How long ago was that, actually?
That was at that was when they raced in Canberra, which gives you some idea as to how long ago it was.
Quite a long time ago, yeah.
I think that was about 2000.
Wow, yeah, okay.
That's how long ago it was. And that happened. I think it was off of Marcus Ambrose's Ford, maybe, from memory.
If it's true that it's... Sure, yeah, let's go with that one. That's even a long time ago, yeah, Marcus Ambrose.
Back in the days when Marcus Ambrose was relevant in V8 supercars. Before he moved to NASCAR.
He did quite well there.
On road courses, yeah.
Well, that's all you really need, really.
This is literally how I think half the time AJ Allmendinger was in the race for the chase, for the quest, for the cup, for the ting.
The thing, yes.
The peng ting.
The ping ting.
The ting goes
peng ting. The ting goes skria.
Oh no.
Yep,
I got led into that one again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Didn't learn the first time it happened, and it happened again. Anyway, moving past Rob's musical stylings.
Yeah, we had, I think, who was it? Road Renard and a 31 Fricadelli doing a bit of lawn maintenance under a slow repair vehicle on the track. Seems like he missed the pack and just went off into the grass. And then getting out, actually, after overheating and cleaning the grass out of the front grille.
Was that Robert Renauer, or was that one of the Porsche Junior drivers?
Norris Siedler. Sorry, not Renauer. Siedler.
Ah, okay, so one of the proper Porsche factory drivers then. Oh, well, no wonder he knew the drill then. He's just like, oh, hang on, let me just get out and clean the grill. I know this. I've done this before.
Yeah, just a little bit of wiping, and off we go again.
Yeah, like nonchalantly just goes, oh, I see the problem.
In the middle of an active racetrack around the corner. What could go wrong?
Oh, and not just any racetrack, the Nürburgring, yeah.
Yeah.
The Nordschleife as well.
Yes. On the bit of the Nordschleife that's quite quick, actually, as you can see by the cars just flying past him. Yeah, as he's nonchalantly just cleaning his grill.
Yeah, I think that was Schwalbenschanz. I'm not sure completely.
I'm impressed he actually didn't lose any positions as well with that cleaning of the grill.
Yeah, he had a great chance to get off.
Stopped, cleaned the grill, got back in, did those belts up, and took off again, and didn't lose a position.
The man knows what he was doing.
Yes, well, he is a Porsche factory driver. I'd hope so. You can get a Porsche lawnmower, Kazoo. It's called a original Porsche tractor.
Yeah.
Quite expensive lawnmower, though.
Or you can just get a Cayenne or a Macan.
Would that cut the lawn though? I think it's a bit too high to do that.
I mean, you can make a. Oh, get the Turbo S.
Fair enough, I suppose. I mean, what is a Porsche, really? But just all the same. It's just for Sith there, because he's probably lurking somewhere.
He
Yeah.
always is.
Yeah, I know he is. Mention Porsche, the man shows up. Anyway, well, there you go, see? Pigeon has a good idea. Or Tom Surson. I'm just gonna call you Pigeon, because I like you better as Pigeon.
Oh, I actually
Put a
didn't
Porsche
see
sticker on your
that.
lawnmower. Yes.
And Kazuo doesn't want a hole in his house, though. And yes, if might have an alarm which rings when someone disses Porsche. I mean, it was all we have to do is say Porsche enough times, and he might actually arrive. And there's a gentleman. From
Here's Banana Man. Yes.
Audi
This is
having a.
Mark with the crucial pit stop with the banana being inserted into the Phoenix Audi.
I've completely missed that.
I missed that as well.
Yeah, this was an hour 4 with the half the banana. Very important, the half banana being in the helmet. And,
Being inserted into the driver.
yes, the driver only importantly eating half of the banana. Thus, the mechanic has to come back in and take out the other half of the banana. Yes, there you go, rather helpfully handed there.
The man needs his potassium, I guess.
He needs his
Man
quick
needs his
pick-me-up
energy.
to go around the Nordschleife, yes. Yes, well done, Daniel. Banana was hashtag keys to the race.
To the
Yes.
race. I was going to say Michelin keys to the race, but the car was on Dunlops. But yeah, as I joked yesterday, there's a reason why I'm doing sports journalism and not sports science.
Because you're not very good at one of them?
Yeah, I decided that halftime nutritional snack for the Solent Sports Journalism first year's team would consist of isotonic sports drinks, crisps, and cake slices.
Yeah, no wonder you're not in sports nutrition there. Yeah,
Yes. It was
worst
it
person
was
ever. You need
motivational, though.
carbs, man, not cake. Cake is not carbs.
But crisps are made out of potato, and potato is carbs, so...
You should have just given them an actual potato. Would have been a hell of a lot better.
Yeah, I think it's much more fat than actual carbs in some chips. Although the
Yeah.
sugar might help you as well.
Yes. Anyway, getting
Sports
back to
science
the
with
point.
Dr. Rob Lomas.
I must stress the point. He is not a doctor. Do not listen to anything he says.
Doctor in failing.
A doctor in failed training, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Well, that very much fits Rob. He is very much potato. Yes. Anyway, getting to the point of the number 3 Audi having a pit stop there with the hour 4 of the race. That was actually the only banana that was consumed on television, as far as I'm aware of. So that was thankfully the only image there. Of the random drunk people, you think there'd be more random food that they were eating. Thanks to the Nürburgring camera people. Yes. Actually, no, they were consuming things. It's called alcohol, but I guess they didn't have any food with that. So.
Oh. Technically, there's hops in beer, though.
There is.
But, yeah, well, I suppose. Well done for you for saving that.
Thank you.
Notice there. That was hour 4. However, later on into the race, there would be the. What hour did that fall out? Actually, the number Audi. That was at sunset, I believe. The
5.5 hours in.
5. Okay, so it wasn't that far in. No, it couldn't have been that
Yeah.
far, or that soon into the race when it fell out, was it?
The number 8, yeah, it was with 18 hours and 22 minutes remaining.
Oh wow, okay, so it was with 5 hours into the race. So the leading number 8, or should I say the leading Audi, rather, of the number 8's Team WRT Audi sports car was driven by Dries Van Thor at the time.
But
When he...
Before that, the number 100 had a little, or rather a big incident as well.
You'll have to refresh my memory. What was the number 100?
A Mercedes. I think the monofilter Mercedes, wasn't it? The one that isn't in the
no,
colors.
the 100 is the was the Walkenhorst Z4 GT3.
Oh, it looked like AMG. I stand corrected then.
Nope. That was the only other car running in the last gen classic thing, other than the Astons. Yeah, that had a massive shunt. I forgot about that one actually, because how quick it happened. I didn't even remember seeing it.
On its way to the carousel, it lost control.
Way to the carousel.
Everything's gonna be a System of a Down reference with you, is it?
Yes.
Maybe.
I see. Should have brushed up on my System of a Down songs then. If you're gonna make references.
So yeah, that happened.
Yes, that happened before the incident that I was actually, which I had forgotten about. But going back to what I was mentioning, which was the number 8 Audi Sports Team WRC Audi falling out in the hands of Dries Van Thor, meeting its demise in a very spectacular and quick fashion after trying to pass the slow car of one of the Mercedes, I believe, that had a problem there. But trying to go in between cars, lapping by one of the actually don't know what car he was lapping by, but one of the slower cars, and it appears that he just caught a puncture from contact with one of the slower lapped cars, and well, that put him into a spin into the
Tiergarten.
Yeah, Tiergarten.
actually, what car was he? Ah, it was one of the Caymans he was lapping by.
Cayman,
Yeah, one of the Cayman GT4s, which he had contact with his right rear and went into the grass, and that was all she wrote, and into the barriers. The number 8 Audi went, and that put it into their race, really.
Oh, I mean, hats off to him though for not taking out anyone else. I mean, that given the speed involved there as well, you've got a car there going real super slow there.
He would have almost gotten away with it had he not made some contact with the suspension. I think the suspension and the tire failed there, and that car was massively written off as soon as it went into the barriers there.
Flipping it, that was a big hit. It was a massive
luckily
hit.
he walked out and it was okay.
I don't want to even imagine if he had the standing Mercedes.
Yeah, he's quite lucky that he missed that very, very threading the needle there. Oh, man.
Oh, man. It's not the first time one of the Van Tor brothers has had a big accident in a WRT Audi. Because, of course, a few years back, Lawrence had his accident at Misano in a Blancpain Sprint Series round.
Oh, yeah, the very opening of the race, yeah.
The contact with someone whose name I can't remember in a Mercedes, and
yeah, that was a massive shunt that ripped.
That was, I think, Van Tor
rode off that car. Yeah, actually, that put him out of the season, wasn't it?
Yeah,
because he was injured.
Yeah, he was injured, and actually, it was such a big impact, that one, that it actually tore the engine clean from the back of the car.
Oh yeah, that was that accident. Yeah, I remember now.
Under the floodlights at Misano.
Yes, that's right. That put him out of the season for that one. Yeah, but luckily Dries was okay, but his pride was just a little hurt there, and that put a dampening on Audi's chances very early on in the race, and would continue to be that way, really. Very unlucky this year they were, because anytime they had a car with pace, it seemed that Anvil would find it and kind of put a dampening on their chances. But more on that in a bit, as we still have quite a bit to go in the race recap here, because that was barely hour 5, 6?
5, 6.
Hour 5, yeah, 5.5 hours in.
So not even at the halfway point.
Oh no, very much more time to go. That wasn't even with sunset. Yeah. That was the first incident at sunset, though. Major incident with one of the runners, the front runner cars. Actually, before that, a bit before that, though, one of the front running BMWs, in the shape of the number 99, wasn't it? Or was it the 98? No, it was a 99.
The
That fell out
99.
earlier. The
Yes.
Roy Racing BMW had some sort of engine issue that put it out on course. They seemingly got that repaired somehow and didn't go very far after that because it seemed to conk out a little bit farther past where the point had stopped the first time, which necessitated it being recovered again.
Yeah.
There was also an incident during the race where a BMW 235 Cup car got disqualified.
Well, that was in the night, wasn't it, for violating Code 60's?
Yeah.
Doing 117 in a Code 60.
117 kilometers, almost double the Code 60 speed.
Well, I mean, in fairness, if you're gonna get busted for speeding, you might as well go out in a very high note. Yeah.
I think, wasn't there in the Gumball 3000 one year, someone in a Koenigsegg CCR or CC8S was clocked in Texas doing over 230 miles an hour or something incredible like that.
I bow to your superior knowledge if that's true. But if you're gonna go speeding, you're gonna get busted in a big way. So yes. But that happened under a Code 60, and that driver and car was thrown out of the race. In fact, that driver had his Nürburgring license
Permit.
actually.
Yeah.
Permit license. Oh, he didn't actually have a license there. He just had a permit.
I can't remember if it's a permit or a license.
Oh, either way, it's a paper. He got his permission to drive there revoked. And I have a feeling he won't be asked back anytime soon, really. Yeah. He'll be given the remedial driver's course if he comes back around the Nürburgring anytime soon, yes.
Yeah, I don't want to be that guy at the drivers' meeting after the race.
I suspect there was no driver's meeting after the race. He was kind of brought in and went, we'll kindly have your license now, thank you, and you can go. Just pack your bags and leave. That goes for the team as well.
I don't think they were that nice to him. I'm pretty sure there was a lot more yelling involved.
There was a lot more swearing in German, I suspect, yes.
Oh, well.
Oh, well. Yes, I stand corrected. The Koenigsegg Gumball 3000 speeding ticket, they were not clocked at 230, but it was 242 miles per hour.
Oh, well, you were quite wrong there. Yeah. Okay.
Only 10 miles an hour slower than what they'd done.
That's quite a sophisticated speed camera they have there. Wow.
Yes. Indeed.
You know, Pigeon just is not impressed. No. He thinks it's a bit too slow, really. He just thinks they're not trying.
Yeah. I think Pigeon is right. I think they really ought to try hard next time, and they should try and go a bit faster. But then again, they were actually, I think, VMAXing the car at the time.
Anyway, yeah, getting back on point to the race at hand here, Rob.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so it was around the time which I was awake. I'd had dinner and was in a studio.
Ah, so we have arrived to the nighttime hours in which the
Number 22 caught fire.
was that before or after the? No, that was before. Never mind. More on my reference later on. Yes, the more of the peculiar, very peculiar incidents of the race was the number 22 Wochenspiegel Team Monschau Ferrari. Having itself a bit of a flambe moment here, as it was refueling. And more impressively, it managed to somehow alight the fire extinguisher as well. But the man with the fire extinguisher was not phased and put out the man who was on fire and the fire extinguisher and the car, and then promptly proceeded to lift up the engine cover and put out the engine fire with his bare hands. Yeah, no gloves.
And then quickly proceeded to put the engine cover back on and just drive out like nothing has ever happened.
Exactly, nothing had happened at all. Yes.
I think the most scared was that camera guy that kind of got a bit of the fire on his hand as well, because he was standing right next to the guy refueling.
Yeah. I mean, there are slightly less dramatic ways of cooking some s'mores.
Yeah, but where's the
Just a
fun in
flash
that?
fire. No harm, no foul, really.
Yeah, need to get,
Just a bit of a fire.
you know, a few hours in, need to get the adrenaline going through the night to keep you awake.
Yeah, I bet those guys were awake for the rest of the night, really, after that one.
Definitely.
Coffee? Nah.
That man with the fire extinguisher does deserve a bit of a medal, though, because he nonchalantly just went, "Oh, fire!" Just put out the guy that was next to him on fire, just sprayed the fire off of the fire extinguisher, then proceeded to stick the nozzle of the fire extinguisher into the inside of the engine bay, and just took care of the whole situation, and then was just like, that happened.
Very
Yeah.
impressive coordination, though.
Extremely
Oh,
impressive
indeed.
coordination, especially by the man who wasn't wearing any gloves.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Crazy
I'd be a
scenes.
bit more concerned if I was the guy with the camera there. Yeah, he was quite lucky. He wasn't set ablaze there with no fire suit.
Yeah.
Only at the Nürburgring 24h.
I can't. The guy with he's just nonchalantly just touching hot things with his bare hands. Yeah.
Even if there wasn't a fire, it's still the engine bay, which is
I know, he's just working with
scalding
no...
hot.
Actually, I think we've actually found. Yep, I can confirm that guy is probably Chuck Norris.
that would... No, he doesn't... Yeah, well, that would explain everything then, possibly. You might be right there.
No, wait, it doesn't. Because in order to put a fire out, all Chuck Norris has to do is he just has to look at it.
Not a Ferrari fire. He's never met a Ferrari fire.
Ah, I see.
see?
That's
Yeah.
true. Yep.
I've cut through your logic there.
God damn it! Not for the first time, I will admit.
Nope.
More on this later.
Yes, I will cut through your logic some more later. Yes. That
I'm
was
looking
the
forward to
first
it.
incident of the night, and that was slightly before the biggest incident of the night, which was actually game-changing for the race overall, and that involved the number 911.
You're forgetting
Max
something
iRacing.
there.
Did I?
The number 48.
Was that before or after the 911 had gone out?
Before.
Was it before?
Yeah.
Oh, right, it was. Yes, you're right. Back to pit stops. That's because the 22 had just pitted slightly before that had happened. But going to Penta's point, thank you for reminding me about that one, because I had them out of order in my mind. I thought it happened after that. Here we see the inept HGP team, and
Oh my
forgetting
God.
forgetting how to properly put on a tire, proceeded to send the car out, which then, as soon as the car was turning left, pitched the wheel off of the car, and the wheel decided to beat a hasty retreat, and very impressively almost cleared the catch fencing here. Now we see the car has spun on the entry to turn 2 here, after the front straight. And, well, if the clips stay put, here we see the crew quite
Yeah,
upset.
the crew who were in dark-coloured race suits, no high-vis or nothing, running onto a live race circuit in order to retrieve a wheel. I mean, fucking seriously?
No, 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 no. Not just retrieve the wheel. They made it onto a dark part of the circuit that wasn't illuminated that well, and also had
Ignored
both of the
marshals.
crew mechanics had ignored marshals, ran onto a live circuit, and had air tanks with them. See, here's one guy with one, and then right behind him comes another guy with another air tank and a jack.
Idiots.
Both of them. And what are they doing?
Trying to put the wheel on again, obviously.
Well, if they were going to do that, they should have waited for the car to be recovered behind the barriers, because now they're disregarding their own safety, and now they're putting this marshal at risk. Because here comes another guy with an air tank.
Hold on, is this HTP?
Yeah.
Yes, this is HTP Motorsport, who should know better.
I was going to say,
Look, running right
are you
past
fucking
cars
kidding me?
that are right behind them. And then, if to top it off all things, these two guys had the nerve to run across a hot track, across cars running past them, ignoring marshals who were behind them waving the whole time flag.
And wearing black race suits.
Yes, and not having any high vis on them at all. There was a third mechanic who had the absolute nerve to get a spare tire and proceed to get onto track to change the tire.
No.
And somehow the marshals were allowing them to do this.
If I was one of the marshals, I probably would have actually tackled bastards, but
I would not have allowed them to even recover and put the tire back on, in fairness. But the worst thing actually about that incident is thankfully all those mechanics were fine and that car was recovered. But that car was somehow allowed to be brought back into the race and to finish the race. If I was in race control, that team would have been thrown out and those mechanics would have been slapped with fines, each one of them.
and in the end, what was it? They got 2,000 euros.
The team got €2,000 fine for that.
Bullshit.
Inexcusable behavior. For what should have actually seen that whole car thrown out of the race result and actually fined. The whole team should have at least been fined more than that if you're going to give them a fine. But
If
the
you're
car
gonna
should
fine
have
the
been
team.
excluded.
They should have excluded. Yeah, you're right. They should have excluded the car and fined the team. Let's say €2,000. I'd say at least 10, maybe 15 times. At least.
The crew members should have been fined each individually, and then the team should have at least been fined by itself, and then the car should have actually been excluded as well.
No, with his sense of adventure and risk, it's all fine.
That's absolutely unacceptable behavior by what should be a professional organizing body, because the ADAC should know better, quite frankly. If they were the ones organizing it. They're supposed to be the German equivalent of AAA. They should actually know better how to enforce rules. But
Yeah, or the AA here in the,
or the AA,
in the UK.
yeah, in the UK, yeah. They should, quite frankly, know better when it comes to being safe about certain procedures. That's ridiculous. Because not only could the mechanic have gotten hit by a car, they had equipment with them. They had air tanks with them as well.
Yeah, those air tanks do weigh a fair bit, I think, as well.
Yes, well, they're also compressed, so if they hit, it could go off as well.
Yeah.
So it was an unsafe situation for everyone around, and they only got fined €2,000 for that, which is quite frankly ridiculous. It wasn't even a penalty. They at the very least should have been fined and given a penalty of a couple of laps. But no, that's not what happened. The 911 and the 912 had stricter penalties for violating Code 60 pit penalties, wasn't it?
I think it was a 3.5 minute stop and hold for the 912, and I can't
Well,
remember.
the 911 as well got the same penalty, but
Yeah, it's because they were a certain speed over the Code 60, because it was on a tiered system. So if you went X kilometers per hour over Code 60, then you got this much of a time penalty, and then it went up. If you went a little bit faster, it went up to the next tier, so on. Unless you try doing double the code 60 speed limit, then in which case you're thrown under the bus, disqualified, and you're banned from driving on the Nordschleife.
Yes, somehow they were more or less, rightfully so, focused on that, and they threw that car out. But they allowed this car to keep going when they were endangering everyone for this ridiculous situation. The car actually should have even been penalized for an unsafe pit release as well.
God.
Should have been?
It should have been, yes.
I mean, I don't know about that, to be fair.
The car lost a wheel after it left a pit. That's an unsafe release as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you leave a pit garage with like 2 or 3 of the wheels having been done up and 1 or 2 left loose, yeah, I'd say that's pretty freaking unsafe, because like the wheel could actually bounce off and actually hit mechanics, photographers, camera crew. I mean,
well,
we saw what
actually,
happened.
from this view where the tire comes off or the wheel comes off, it almost cleared the catch fencing there.
Yeah, could have ended up in a grandstand. Could have ended up in.
Actually, from this angle, you can see how high the wheel goes.
Area. Just
Yeah.
about. Oh, it takes out part of the 50-meter board. Okay, it's going along the gravel trap.
Look, that's how it almost cleared the catch fencing.
Yes, and would have actually probably ended up injuring, maybe even, God forbid, killing people there.
Yes, with a not insignificant wheel there. So I would say at the very minimum that should have been a unsafe pit release penalty there. But yeah, that's that did not happen, and the team got a €2,000 penalty, and that's what happened. The race continued for them, and I don't even think the actual team director was even spoken to there, actually, in fairness.
Really?
I don't seem to recall anything being mentioned on the timing and scoring of having a talking to by the race director, so no.
I don't think it says that on that timing screen that we had.
Oh, okay. Well, fairness, most of them were,
I mean, someone had to talk to the race director, otherwise they wouldn't have gotten a €2,000 fine.
well, they could have been issued it anyway without having anyone been talked to. That's quite possible as well.
I don't know. I'm not sure if that's how.
I'm not sure about that either, but I don't know. That whole situation is unacceptable on many, many fronts. But yeah, the consistency is a bit lacking there because they threw out a car for speeding under code 60, rightfully so, but this car was even along those same lines of being the same thing, really.
Yeah.
The question is, whose idea was it?
Well, that's what I'd like to know too, because if the mechanics had the idea to come out there on their own accord, then maybe I see the point. But I can't imagine these two guys, these geniuses with pit equipment, left the garage without the team director knowing, and then the third guy showing up with a tire, which has clearly been removed from the tire blanket there. Like, I can't imagine the third guy being allowed to go out there without someone knowing that they had done that. I don't understand it. Because if it was an amateur team, yeah, I can understand. They'd be like, oh, it's a simple mistake. But this is HGP. They are
the de facto factory Mercedes GT3 team worldwide.
Other than Black Falcon, yeah, and Straka. But they are the de facto team that you think of when you think of Mercedes GT3 efforts. They should know better, quite frankly.
I would love to hear a statement to this from anyone.
I don't know if they've actually released a statement on it, because if they haven't, they actually do owe an explanation as to why they allowed this to not be dealt with in a proficient manner, because this is just weird to me.
Oh. Seems like it's a resurrector in shot right now, talking to his crew. Will be a little bit delayed for you guys.
What are we?
Oh, there's the guy with the tire. Let me go back again. I'm still watching that thing.
Apologies if you can hear a garbage truck. I can't help that.
Oh, it's quiet. But the fun
good.
the fun thing is, the mechanic passes the tire to the marshal, and the marshal just walks down the track, across the track towards the car.
I mean, I guess he figures he's already gotten there. He's gonna help him be in a safe fashion, I guess. But this guy with a tire is just walking nonchalantly on the outside of the track, and then he's just like, "Oh, here you go, guy. Here's your tire back." Instead of going, "No, you're staying here, and you're not gonna go out there." He just allowed him to cross the track. All this miscommunication on so many fronts. Because I'm not going to blame the marshals, because they're just letting him do it, because obviously the race direction hasn't told them otherwise, so they're just like, well, this must be okay. So, because in fairness,
so
this guy is actually
funny.
behind the barriers, so I mean it's fine. But somehow this poor marshal has been wrangled into helping him. I don't understand that situation. I don't know.
It's so bizarre. I love it.
I didn't actually notice those two random people walking by before either.
Here we go. Oh no, never mind. I'll mention that later, after we finish recording, because it's not really relevant at this point. But I do have the HTTP website up. I'm going to click news.
Oh no! Don't tell me they have a statement.
I'd love to hear it.
Yes, if they have a statement, please tell me.
Facebook might also be a...
No, the last piece of news. A race day to forget for HTP Motorsport, ADAC GT Masters, 29th of July 2017.
Yeah, you might be better off on Facebook at this point.
No mention of it whatsoever. Okay.
No mention on their website. Ooh, contact. Fantastic.
Ask them for a statement. We should do that.
Yes.
Maybe we'll get one by next week. We can
Yes.
come back to that.
Yes. Yes, although unfortunately that will mean me having to...
You should ask them. You're a journalist.
Yeah, you're the journalist.
Yes, when I may have to point out that I am genuinely FIA accredited
See?
as well.
Wait, you're actually an FIA accredited journalist?
I think so, yeah, from my Formula E stuff. Oh, they've got a press releasey thingy on Facebook.
I just seen this as well. However, it's in German.
Oh,
Yes.
so this is
Yes.
time for me.
Großer Kampfgeist blieb
Oh no.
unbelohnt. Und Ausschuung für das Mercedes AMG Team Mannfilter und HTP
Oh no.
24-Stunden Nürburgring.
Oh god, this translation is poor. Shush, I'm just gonna give it to Penta so he can read
Yes,
it.
please. Someone pass me a link.
Hold on.
Here, I got it.
I've got it as well.
Which one of us gets it first?
I've sent it in
Rob.
podcast.
Damn it!
Yes.
Duplicates. Yeah, you got it.
No one will notice.
This is great. This is great entertainment. As he reads aloud a.
Well, they mention what happened. Like, they mentioned that they lost a tire, but nothing more about it.
Of course, they don't mention what actually happened. Yeah.
Yeah, they went over that little detail. So I think Rob really has to get his degree to work and ask him for a statement.
Degree? I don't have a degree yet.
Well.
I've still got another 2 years.
Soon degree.
Yeah. Oh dear, but yeah, that was just a complete mess. That pit stop.
Sure was.
Yes, and unfortunately, that car came back into the race. Actually, came back and, of all things, finished 17th overall, I believe. So it made it back into the top 20 after that. Ridiculous.
I love what Penta said here. No, so not Penta, sorry, Kazuo rather said in the chat. Stop him. Yes.
But
Meine Deutsche ist gut, ja.
no,
No.
your trip to Germany this coming weekend will be a disaster, as everyone will just speak to you in English.
It's gonna be quite fun. Hopefully I'll actually have some mobile data on my phone as well, given that I managed to get through 12 gig in 3 weeks.
So it's like I have to like speak to them for you in German over the phone. Is that what's gonna happen?
No, I'll just...
That's not going to be needed.
I'll just speak my German. Besides, I'm taking my trusty Lonely Planet German phrasebook and dictionary.
Anyway, getting back past Rob's pigeon German, yes. I will now mention the bit that I was going to mention almost 15 minutes ago. Yeah. Which was the race being upended by the race favorite of the number 911 Monza Racing 911 GT3R crashing out heavily after appearing to slip on some oil left by the what was then written down on the entry list as a Doge Viper.
Dogcoin Viper.
Wait, was it
Doge Viper crashing out
Doge,
on the
Chrysler, Doge?
yeah,
Dodge
Doge,
Chrysler,
Chrysler,
yeah, something
Doge,
like that.
Viper, Doge, written
Much
4 or 5 times.
much cylinders, many wow.
Yes, but that Viper crashed there just before the 911 reached that point, and it found the fluid left behind and was out in spectacular fashion, as there was nothing Roma Duma could do. And we had the onboard video showing the moment of impact there, and afterwards him trying to crank the car up and get it rolling again, sadly, to no avail.
And
As
also,
you can see there, the oil that
yeah.
has caught out the car there.
And also, what you can't hear in this part of the video footage is afterwards is the sound of the car being unceremoniously dragged through the gravel trap.
Oh, that was a terrible sound.
That I was in the studio at the time and I was wincing.
Oh yeah, that was a very painful dragging through the gravel and going, oh, that used to be the leader, now just being tossed aside.
Yeah. Actually, do you want to know what that was the sound of?
Crying.
No, them dollar bills, y'all.
Ah, yes. Yes, as Daniel has helpfully pointed out to us, it was the Chrysler Doge, Chrysler Dodge.
Yes.
Woof.
Ooh. Exactly.
All it needs is a Doge, yes.
Or was that car a pupper or a big boy?
I
It
was
was
a grown
It was a
one.
thick boy that was also quite lazy.
Yeah.
Ah, right.
Thick, low-revving lazy boy is what it was.
Was it a good boy?
No, because it took out the leader, so it was a very bad boy.
Not very floofy then.
No. Well, I mean, I guess it was after it hit the wall.
Yeah.
I actually don't know if it actually crashed or if it just blew an engine. We actually have no idea what happened to the Viper other than it blew up and left its internal fluids all over the track. Yeah.
Spewing its guts out all over the
Spewed its
circuit.
guts all over the track, and the Porsche was the first one to find it. So that took out Romain Dumas and the 911 Mansai Porsche, which was the biggest casualty of the race through the night, really, and that was the Manti Challenge, or Manti Challenge rather, done there, as the mantle was then taken up by the sister 912 Porsche.
SP4 has a couple of cars in that.
Yes, as we see the 911 crashing once again.
What sound this time?
I don't hear anything.
I don't hear
Oh, wait a minute. Hang on.
Yeah, if you have the stream muted, of course. Oh, I'm
yeah.
a bit too far ahead.
Oh, there we go. I can hear it now.
To work it out, takes 6
Let me
hours
find
to
a spot. Sadly with commentary. No, that's not it.
That's a car that's had troubles.
Where did that happen? Good question. Here?
Very helpful couple as well.
I don't know. Oh, let me find it again. Anyway, moving on.
Yes, and that experiment has failed spectacularly. Moving right along now. And you need to go to the end of the video, because clearly the 911 would have stopped recording after it crashed out, really.
Well, this is the full stream, so...
Oh, yeah, that's true. But yeah, that met its demise quite early on in the race, and that made the 912 had to pick up the pieces there. And that was in hour 7, I think, when that fell out.
I have no idea.
It was either hour 7 or hour 8, something like that.
I think hour 7. If I could find it, I could tell you, but I can't.
No, that's oh good. That fell out early on anyway. And that was the first favorite to go down, and the no, we're not going to do every single crash, Penta. No, absolutely not. Because quite frankly, I can't remember half of them either, so that's also the problem.
I only can thanks to replays.
Stuff's wonderful replays.
Exactly. What would we do without him?
Nothing, really. Well, I mean, we could still do things without stuff, but we just don't have any replays.
Yeah.
How many more replays you have, actually, of the, on the thing?
Almost every incident that happened.
Oh, Jesus, we don't have time to do all of them.
Oh, I found it.
Hit by anybody,
Found
but
what?
he's got- he's
The
had
crash of the 911.
Indeed, praise stuff.
Yes, praise stuff.
Praise be to stuff.
Yes, praise be.
As we waffle along here, as Penta wants to find the onboard of the 911 crashing again.
Yeah.
So we'll just fill with some commentary here as Penta finds a video.
I mean, what happened next? I can't even remember.
Well, the 911 fell out, like I mentioned. When did the Rowe BMW, the second one, Rowe BMW, whatever the fuck it is, the 98 was the highest BMW that had trouble the night, so that was the BMW challenge done there after the 99
That was the sound. That was
went
the sound
out.
of many euros being required to put that right. And get
Let's see here. I'm
the
trying to
front
think.
end of Romain Dumas'
There we go.
Porsche is
It's
so
getting
badly
dragged to the
derailed that
gravel.
they've had to move some of the bodywork to
Ah,
attach
yes,
a
wonderful.
tow strop to it, and in comes the Opel to try and get this car out. This is not coming back to the pit, even, guys.
No, they're going to have to.
It's been dragged unceremoniously. Hang on, have a listen.
Ah, it pains me to hear that.
That's That's not even rolling, is it? That was not a nice...
So yeah, there's that. Press H.
Yes,
in
the lovely sound of gravel on a very expensive car. And the very shocked Porsche people there. What are you doing to my lovely car? Yeah. And that was the end of that Porsche there.
There's one fantastic move by Nicky Team we have to mention. That
well, that's at the end, so yeah, we'll get to that right now, actually. If you have a replay,
yeah, it's
that'd be
already
great.
playing.
Producer extraordinaire. That's not Nicky Team, that's a number 4.
Yeah, but just watch.
Oh, this one, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. The 4 gets caught behind some traffic and goes through the, one of the Audis goes through, and Nicky Team just goes by in a train.
Yes, this is the battle for first. The number 4 was leading with the number 1 Land Audi behind, and Nicky Team at the start of the round being 4 seconds behind, and then just at the end of the lap casually passing the number 4.
Oh yes, this was slightly before the rain came during the night.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, this was...
Yeah, this was exactly the race for the lead, as everyone was expecting the rain to come. And the 007 Aston was playing itself into have a potential strategy to be at the front. And it was at the hands of Nicky Team slightly before it had to stop for its regular service.
with
The rain came shortly after that, and it was pretty hard and heavy rain, actually, that remained throughout the night through the morning, really. For a bit until it dried up, and then the rain came back with a vengeance later on in later on in the race. But that was the move from Nicky Team there. Very stealthy moves that happened with the 007 trying to play itself into the overall win there. Of course, it would still play a factor later on in the race. However, it wouldn't be for the overall win. It would be for a podium. And now here we see the beautiful rain shots of the cars running through the darkness here with 12 hours to go. So this was just past the, just over the halfway point here. When the rain came down in droves. There we see the Kuss Team 75 Bernard car there. And here is the number
14, I think. Yeah, 14.
I don't know, the light's not illuminated. The number 14, oh there it is, number 14 Phoenix Audi LMS. Here is the number
14 again.
14 again? Oh, of course. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, that was the rain coming down there, and that would stay for the next 5 hours or so, 5 and a bit hours, I think, till it dried up. And then we got to sunrise, where it was still somewhat raining, but it was also drying out at the same time. That happened as well. Nothing major happened at that point, really, in the day. This was, however, the battle for the overall lead.
Yeah.
In the night. That was a magnificent pass on the 912 Porsche by Manuel Metzger on the outside, coming into the carousel.
No, that's Versailles, I think.
Oh yes, you're right. Wrong turn there.
I'm not completely sure. Someone with better track knowledge will tell me.
I'm referring to Pensa, and if he's wrong, then he's wrong, because I don't know either. But chat correct us wherever turn that was, but that was the outside move for the overall lead there at that point, and the soaking rain. Many battles were had actually in the wet around the Nordschleife, which is quite daunting, really. Actually, I'm trying to think if there are any more passes during the night. I think that was that really.
His last lap was set.
I can remember.
You and me both. My brain's frazzled a bit at that point, yeah. It was a long 24 hours for some of us.
Yes.
Yes. Me and Penta particularly, yes. Because Rob slept for half of the race, so yeah, he was fresh as a daisy, yes. Actually, where did Rob go? Why are you so quiet?
I have no idea.
Oh shit! Yeah, I think I muted myself by accident.
Oh, wonderful.
Of course you did.
Of course you did.
Yeah, I muted myself by accident. I was gonna say, oh yeah, during the night the Subaru was the fastest, and I'm like, why are you guys talking over me? And I'm like, and then when you said, oh, why is Rob so quiet? And I was like, oh, I've muted myself on my actual headset.
Well, yes, Rob has a point. Obviously, the Subaru was the all-wheel drive car and came into its own in the nighttime conditions because it had superior traction in the wet. And
Gregor would approve.
Gregor would approve. He'd be right for once and only this once. Yeah.
And then the next time he says, "Oh, it's all-wheel drive," we'll just ban him or something. Some shut up.
Well, he's not on this thing, so we can't actually ban him. But moving past the Gregor reference.
Yeah.
Long live Gregor.
Now we're having a Eurovision debate in the chat here. Wonderfully so. Doesn't matter, Eurovision's garbage anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, on screen you see the number 912 having a bit of an oopsie with one of the TCR cars, I think. I'm not sure.
Having an oh yeah, that was one of the oh, that was a Clio, I think it hit.
Clio
yeah,
Astra?
One Clio Astra, something like that. It was running into one of the back markers there and had a bit of a car on its front nose, yeah, afterwards.
Didn't expect to move on the inside.
I came across the one of the GT4 BMWs there, lapping that, and then I actually think that might have been one of the Bonk Motorsports BMWs I came across there.
I'm not entirely sure. That is possible.
Looks like one of them. But that happened, and it had a scar on the front nose there that it had to come in for some very mismatched duct tape that was quite annoying, actually. Because it was black on yellow, and quite frankly, it's very unprofessional. Porsche should know better. They need to have bright yellow tank tape with them, or none at all.
You could
Roger
sponsor them.
Penske would not have this at all.
Roger
that
Penske
would not be Penske
would
perfect.
never have. No, he would have perfectly matching tape for his cars.
Exactly, because it has to be Penske perfect, and we all know that.
Well, they also had that light illuminating the sponsorship on the rear tail fins on the Daytona 24 Hours, so that is the epitome of Penske perfect. But that was during the day. How many hours in? I cannot remember to save my life, actually, because I don't remember that point. I think that was unless there was another point that I can't remember. Penta, tell me, is there more stuff at that point, or can we get to the juicy bits at the end?
The number one crash.
Number one?
Yeah.
Oh yes, that happened. The number one spun into the barriers and got itself stuck in the mud, and proceeded to work itself backwards out of the mud. And as soon as it did that, it's had a puncture that's blue because who was at the wheel? Is one of the Vanderlindes.
Kelvin van der Linde.
Kelvin van der Linde. Ah, yes. And speak of the devil, there it is.
Yeah, getting slightly stuck at the damn track.
Slightly loose here, and spins, hits the barrier, stuck in the mud. Proceeds to work itself loose there, and a puncture develops, and going down the there, and the left rear tire blue, and it did somewhat damage the car as it was brought back into the pits, still expertly under the control of Calvin van der Linde, who turned it over to the other van der Linde,
Sheldon.
Sheldon, the older one. The older brother.
Exactly, yeah.
That happened as well.
Yeah.
Our review's working really well, I'm just realizing this. Yeah, because we can't remember half the crap that happened in the race, yeah. Ah, man. We're great at this.
We're perfect.
We're perfect at this.
We
Not
are
Penske
Penske perfect.
No, we're Penske unperfect, is what we are.
T3. Was that a
None of
Toyota?
us would be hired by Penske, first off, yeah. How many more replays you got up there?
A handful.
Christopher Meese.
Oh, wait. Which crash is this? Oh, that's another crash.
This is number 1, isn't it?
Yeah, again. Christopher Meese crashing at Adenauer Forst. Slightly missing the break there.
Adenauer Forst.
Mr. Measy.
Wasn't this just a spin by the
Yeah.
number 1?
Yeah, just a spin,
Yeah.
I think, from
This was
Meese.
just a spin in the wet conditions that happened in the third hour. Or not third hour, with 3 hours remaining or
Yeah.
so. Quick hands there, just got behind on the steering and lost it. Really, Christopher Meese.
That's a really long replay, I just realized.
He's the best at this.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh,
Yes?
This is me you're looking for.
This...
Why are we saying hello?
Because this replay takes a long time. Okay, this...
Oh, well, why are we looking at it then if it takes so
I don't
long?
know. I didn't realize that.
You're the one in charge of it. Hello?
This
Hello.
replay is 1 minute and 20 seconds.
Screw it. Let's go to the next replay then.
Behind.
Oh, this
Let's
is...
go to the bits that matter, which was the, since you got to that point, this sets up nicely for the fact that it was raining quite hard, so that meant the fog was rolling in over the Nordschleife, which was no good for visibility, and the spray wasn't helping either, so they had to red flag the race for an hour and a bit.
Yeah, something like that. Close to an hour.
Something like that. Close to an hour, hour and a half. Which set up a restart, thankfully.
Yeah. We also had some European Le Mans Series action and fun and games as well going on at a much, much drier Monza.
We will mention that after this very briefly.
Yes.
As we're great at recapping things, as you can see.
Yeah.
But that red flag happened with an hour and a bit to let the fog clear somewhat and the rain subside so they could come out. But the conditions weren't that good when they restarted, so I don't know what they were waiting on, really. But there was a heck of a battle with an hour and 32 minutes remaining.
Who was that?
An hour 30.
I mean, I got a few replays there with some overtakes from the last 1.5 hours.
Yeah, the last restart went green, and was a battle between Adam Christodoulou and Frederick Makovicky in the 912 Porsche. Or actually, no, Frederick Makovicky in the 912 Porsche, and Adam Christodoulou in the number 4 Mercedes were dueling it out in the final hour and a half. Here we go. The number 4 Mercedes being out front.
Oh, so I couldn't see him for a moment.
The number 4, yes, that was actually the replay there. The number 4 Black Falcon AMG out front here. The 912 Porsche going around the outside, coming into the
Wet
first
line.
corner.
Wet line, get
And
the cut back.
the number 4 slightly cocking it up there and spins. And that was the Merck's race run there, as you can see by the reactions there. And the 912 sailed away, and the conditions worsened slightly. And the 912 Porsche pulled away. However, the number 4 was in hot pursuit and was catching the 912 through traffic and the lessening visibility, but not before it slightly had an issue of its own and went into the Armco barriers later on in the lap, which slightly slowed it down, but still ended up catching it with slight damage anyway. But after that point, the race was run for the number 4 after having damage there, and it was just conserving fuel really to try and see if it could make it longer stop or go longer before it had to stop here. Oh, this is the point where the number 4 ran into the barriers here. Kept it going afterwards.
Yup.
But that allowed the 912 to have a gap and a barrier, so that was how the race was run, basically. And your winners of the 2018 Nürburgring 24 hours was the number 912 Porsche. Was the number 912 Manti Racing Porsche 911 GT3R of Frederick Makovicky, Patrick Pile, Nick Tandy, and Richard Leitz, who completed 132 laps of the race. And that was pretty much how that race was run, really.
Yes, and speaking of Porsche, they unveiled a new car on the Friday. The new 911 GT3R.
Well, hang on.
Oh.
On that point, I'm just going to mention briefly the major class winners. The 007 Aston took the SP9 LG class, but it just missed out on an overall podium in the factory outing the last factory outing for the old Vantage. So the last time we will hear the glorious V12 Vantage GT3 wailing around the Nürburgring, because more on its replacement later. The SPX class was taken by the Scuderia Cameron Glickenhaus SCG003. And basically that was all of them major classes really. The other ones are kind of not really worth mentioning.
No.
Other than that, the Subaru won the SP3T class. Or as people were saying in the chat, the was it Team Valve or something?
Seth with his joke about the car not doing what it's supposed to do.
Yes, that was the car coming across the line there with some media person there. I think that was the Alderman, wasn't it, or someone?
I have no idea.
I don't know. I wasn't watching the German one, so I have no idea who that was. All I know is that was a media of the German media member there who was waving the checker flag for the not Grello Porsche there, because it's too green. Yes, there you go, as Daniel points out. It's not going pshk pshk anymore, yeah. It wasn't actually, as someone was pointing out, who was it? I think it was Stuff that was calling it the marker pen special, the 912 Porsche.
I think Martin Haven may have mentioned that in the commentary.
Someone was mentioning that, but someone kept calling it the marker pen special, so that's what the 912 became, and it won. So Porsche has once again won on the Nürburgring Nordschleife, and
sponsored by Stabilo.
keeps winning on the VLN rounds or whatever, so on the Nordschleife, but that continues that trend. And now we go into the ELMS round. That was once again another continuing a trend from the Nürburgring Nordschleife race, but it was a trend of safety cars and full course yellows in the ELMS race.
Yes, there was. There were a few, especially at the start. Alex Cunho had a big off at one of the two Lesmos. He was thankfully okay. And there was another incident down at the Varantescari as well. And someone was involved in that. I think it was the second G-Drive car, not the Jean-Eric Verne car.
This was the first safety car you were mentioning?
Yeah, the first safety car was Alex Cunho.
Ah, yes, in the wasn't it the Graf car?
I believe it was the Graf racing car.
Yes, it was the number 40, number 30. It was either 39 or the number 40.
I honestly have no idea.
Because the second safety car is brought out by the second G-Drive car, as you mentioned.
Mm.
But that was that the TDS racing car?
I don't think so. So the actual TDS racing car was started from the back of the LMP2 class due to infringement in qualifying.
Oh, well, that came home.
P2.
P2, yes.
Behind the other G-Drive car of Jean-Eric Verne, Roman Rustinov, and Andrea Pizzatola.
Yes, actually, I will mention the number 33 TDS Racing Orca was originally on pole, but had its laps deleted after post-qualifying inspection. Saw the car had tape on its bodywork, which is a violation of technical regulations.
Yes.
So it was thrown to the yes,
Sorry.
some form or fashion, which saw it thrown to the back of the LMP2 grid, and joining it back there was the number 31 APR Rebellion car, because its front splitter was not complying to height requirements. So those two were lonely at the back of the LMP2 grid. That meant that the number 21 Dragon Speed Oric was on pole after being promoted there. And pole in LMP3 was the number 17 Ultimates Norma M30 Matthew Lehay, which was the first pole for the Ultimates team. And in GTE, it was the number 80 EB Motors Porsche 911 RSR of Ricardo Pera, who had that. And there were 4 safety car periods on the day, with the first one being the Graf Racing Orca, and the second being one of the G-Drive Orcas, I believe. The other two coming from LMP3 cars, I seem to remember. One of them being the number 3 DKR Engineering Norma that you love so much.
Ah, yes, the one that has the totally illegal driver lineup.
Yes, well, that had an accident at the...
Kazuo says duct tape is core to racing, F that rule. Well, in this case, they were using the duct tape to actually gain an advantage by streamlining the car.
It wasn't actually duct tape, in fairness. It was one of the clear, like, packaging tape or whatever you want to call it. But it was clear tape, I think. So
Tokyo bondage tape, I think, is Mighty Common.
They were taping some form of the car that wasn't allowed in the regulations, because you are allowed to tape around headlights to allow the lights to block out moisture. That's an area you're allowed to tape. However, you're not allowed to tape over shut lines and bodywork to make fit better for aerodynamic purposes. That was a rule added this year. And they fell afoul of that. So that's how that worked. I think that was the same reason the Mazdas were penalized at Sebring, I seem to remember. But IMSA is a separate series, so Yeah, but it's along those same lines of penalties. They were 4 safety cars on the day, but G-Drive Racing won their second race in a row. Second race in 2 weeks, rather, after Roman Rusnov, Andrea Pisatola, and Alexandre Imperatori. Won in their number 26 Oracle 7, which led home a Oracle 7 123 in the LMP2 class and overall. Second going to the number 33 TDS Racing car of Mathieu Vaxivière, Francois Perrodo, and Loic Duval, coming from the back of the grid, and the number 28 EDEX Sports car of Paulu Chatin and Patrice Lefargue and Memo Rojas finishing the podium. LMP3 was won by the number 11 Euro International Ligier GSP3 of Giorgio Mondini and Kay Van Berlo. That marked the 6th consecutive win for the Ligier GSP3 in LMP3, and the GTE class was won commandingly so by the number 55 Spirit of Race Ferrari 488 GT3 of Matt Griffin, Duncan Cameron, and Aaron Scott, followed home by the 2 Porsches of the number 77 Proton Competition entry of Christian Reed, Marvin Dienst, and Mark Lieb. And EB Motors was third in the number 80 EB Motors Porsche was third with Fabio Babini, Riccardo Pera, and Raymond Narak. So that was the ELMS race. And now we move into the bit of new car news.
Oh, yes. There's a brochure available for people to buy, if you have the money, that is. Yeah, it's their new 911 GT3R. It's going to be making its full customer racing debut in 2019. It's got 4-litre flat 6, producing an estimated 550 brake horsepower. It's got new lightweight components such as a carbon fibre hood, wheel arches, door, side and rear tail sections as well. New wheel arch vents and front fairings to increase front downforce. Double wishbone suspension in the front, so they can use the maximum front wheel and tyre size for the first time. New brake systems being developed. Better ABS system, fully automatic clutch. More defined rear diffuser. Larger rear wing, I think, and a fuel cell that can be filled from either the left and the right side. Fixed position seats, added side impacts panels. It even comes with air conditioning. Unfortunately, the car doesn't come with satellite navigation or Bluetooth, I'm afraid. So, yeah, all DAB digital radio for that matter. Sadly, it has a price tag of €459,000. Which is $546,000. Without that, but then again, you will need to add your own taxes onto that. But I'm quite liking the look of the car, and to give you an idea how quick the brakes are, Jörg Bergmeister was testing the car at Monza, and he said he was coming up to the Rettifilo, the first chicane at Monza, 275 kph, which, if I just work that out quickly, is 171 miles an hour. He was heading into the Rettifilo at that speed and was braking at the 110 meter mark.
Yeah, that's a very adapt new GT3 car then. Clearly not borrowing anything from the 911 RSR.
No, he said that compared to the old GT3R, the engine's got broader power range, bit more torque. The downforce levels improved, new ABS, new kinematics on the front axle as well.
It also has a very fancy clutch on it as well.
Yes, the automatic clutch. That's going to be that's quite nice, I think. Frank-Stefan Wallister said, we also looked at better drivability, easier handling, easier setup of the car so it's not too sensitive on the pitch of the car. Everything that makes it easier for the teams to handle it, set it up and adjust it to different racetracks. He also added that both the engine and gearbox runtime has been increased to 60 hours.
Wow.
So that's the equivalent of doing Dubai, Daytona, and Bathurst, all on the same engine and gearbox. Just the races.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. So what you're basically saying is it's basically made better for amateur drivers.
Yes, it's been better for amateur drivers, better for teams running the car, and yeah, it's going to be. I'm quite liking it.
What a concept,
fact-
making a GT3 car work better for AMs. Yeah. I wonder where they learned that from. Could it be perhaps their Audi stablemate? Yeah.
Yeah, I hear the Audi R8 LMS is quite a handy piece of kit, as I think Mike Headland may have once said in one of the YouTube live chats.
Yes.
Yes. Always a
like
pleasure having Mike in the chat, by the way. He can actually give us some actual insight as to what a modern GT3 car's like, whereas we can only give insight based off of watching it on YouTube.
I like the carbon fiber details on that, and the around the lights there. Also, very lovely lizard green. That's a color that I never thought would be on a.
I was expecting that to be red, in fairness.
Well, Nürburgring green, how you know?
Die grüne Hölle.
Yeah, it's lizard green. So it's not gonna stay that way, unfortunately. Yeah. Quite nice if that was actually accent color, but no, it'll be back to red. And speaking of new cars, there is going to be a new Aston Martin Vantage GT3 and GT4 coming next season as well.
Yes.
Both the GT3 and GT4 will be based on the new road cars and will feature, sadly, the 4-liter twin-turbo V8s found in the road car and the GTE cars. So the V12 has died in the GT3 model. The GT3 car will also draw from the GTE car and its designs, and both cars will be homologated for racing from March 1st of 2019, with AMR already taking orders.
Very nice.
Yes, there were 42 cars built of the V12 Vantage GT3s. It has 3 British GT titles. The 2017 Blancpain GT Endurance Cup Pro-Am title to its name, and also the Blancpain GT Asia title. The old GT4 had 124 cars built in its lifetime.
Wow.
Secured back-to-back British GT titles in 2014 and 2015, and secured the Northern European GT4 Pro-Am title in 2016.
I mean, the way British GT is, I mean, there is every chance that Aston Martin could get another title in GT3.
Well, yeah, it's still winning.
Still winning, given that I think almost the entire WEC driver lineup is actually competing in various customer cars in British GT, which is absolutely brilliant.
That's the mock-up of what the new Vantage GT3 should look like. Yeah, Penta.
Oh, thank you.
I was going to say I'm not seeing it. Oh, I've just seen the photo.
But that is the new Vantage GT3, GT4-ish looking thing. Because there's only a drawing of what it looks like, but it looks quite nice. So if it's anything like the GTE car, it'll look really, really good.
Yeah.
Also, Vantage news: there is a partnership being explored for a potential U.S. team to field a full pro lineup in GTLM in IMSA with the new Vantage GTE, and for them to support customer efforts in other classes. And there is a potential target for a 2019 IMSA program. So that might be coming to fruition with several well-known teams running that. And the GT3 and GT4 cars could also make their competition debuts in some VLN rounds at the end of the season, ahead of a full customer rollout for next season, for next year.
Or Kravontic, maybe.
Well, funny enough, the Dubai 24 hours and the Rolex 24 could be run. The new car could run under draft homologations there. And also, Dave King let slip that that AMR are looking at a potential two-car factory effort at next year's Nürburgring 24 hours with the new Vantage GT. That's on their wish list as well.
Ooh, that would be fun.
So, yeah. I will point out these are the GTE cars, but yeah, you can kind of see what the GT3 might look like if it's going to be based somewhat loosely around the GTE car. Not entirely, because they've already said the Vantage won't look like, or the GTE Vantage won't be a direct body shell replacement thing like the Ford 8 is with the GT3 GTE specs. So you'll have to have separate cars. It won't be a switch.
Sad face.
Yeah, I know.
Emoji. Yeah.
They'll still sell quite a bit of them, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Alright. And should we do some calendar news?
Yes, for this upcoming weekend? Yes.
Yes,
Please
there's...
tell the dear listener where you're being this weekend.
I was going to say, there's Super GT from Suzuka, the 300 kilometers of Suzuka. That's going to be on Nismo TV, I presume. Pirelli World Challenge is heading to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, with the top GT class having a 10-car entry.
Wow.
It's actually going to be combined with the 24 GTS and GTA.
That's just pitiful, really. Yeah.
To make it a 34-car entry. Yeah, that's happening. Blancpain GT's at Silverstone. It's going to be the last race for Guy Smith as a factory Bentley driver. I believe being replaced by Jordan Pepper, I believe, as well, from what I saw on Twitter. Just going to quickly scroll down. Yeah, it will be Jordan Pepper. The young 21-year-old South African will be replacing Guy Smith.
Yeah, the very surprised news of Guy Smith retiring from factory racing. Out of nowhere, really. They said it was a planned rollout, but quite sure.
Yeah, and there is also the FIA Formula E Championship, which is going to be at Berlin Tempelhof this weekend.
And you'll be there, yes.
Yes, I will be there.
Building up your part now.
Yes, I shall be there. And yeah, it's going to be quite fun. It's the first time which Formula E has actually reused the same circuit configuration as the previous year in Berlin as well. Yeah, it's going to be quite a interesting day. And the race itself is, I think, 6 o'clock Central European time race start. It's about 6 o'clock or 6:04, I think.
Perhaps. I don't know.
I was going to say, I should know, because...
You're the one going, you should know when the race is happening.
Yes, I have the schedule of events here. So free practice 1 starts at 9 o'clock local time. Practice 2 starts at 11:30 local time. Qualifying starts at 2 o'clock local time, and then the race starts at 6 local time for 45 laps. A couple of
There-
driver changes as well. Tom Blomqvist has been dropped by MS and AD Andretti and has been replaced by Stefan Sarazan. Luca Filippi is back at Neo instead of Martin Hua. And finally, Tom Dillman is making a one-off appearance for Venturi because they needed a replacement for Edo Mortara, who's at the DTM round at Lausitz.
It's not a one-off appearance, though, is it? Because wasn't he already slated to replace it before?
It's just a one-off, I believe, due
Oh.
to the clash between DTM and...
Oh, so it's the only clash then. Got it.
I believe so, yeah.
All right. Well, that's that done. You are forgetting the major thing that's also happening. That I think we touched on earlier, but
Yes.
qualifications for the Indy 500. Come on.
Yes, there's also qualifications for the Indy 500, and I was actually going to say, just going back to Formula E quickly, Felipe Massa has been confirmed at Venturi. He has signed a 3-year deal to drive for them.
That surely points to HWA being poaching both their drivers, then, I suspect. Well, they were, in fairness, on loan to them anyway.
Could be.
I place my blame on, or not blame, I place my buck on,
Yeah.
place my buck on them going to having both of them being at the HWA and, having a complete new driver lineup for Venturi, yes.
Yes.
But, that's for later news, I suppose. Is there any more news you have
No,
across
that's
the guys?
it news-wise. Yeah, and there's also the Indy 500 qualifications, which are happening at the moment. I'm not sure what day we're on, because I know it's all... There's still bump day and carb
Not
day. to come.
happening at the moment. Qualifications begin Saturday.
All
and
right, yeah.
Sunday.
I was going to say, if you're wondering what's happening at the moment, the answer is nothing, because there's lightning in the area.
Ah, yes. That explains my question. Or that answers my question I was going to ask then.
Yep.
So, wonderful.
Yes.
I should ask. Well, I should know because Pigeon's been watching it. So, yes. Bump day is Saturday, Rob, and qualifications for that finish on Sunday. Yeah, but no, he says they're back on track. So you can go watch that after this is done in about 5 seconds time because we're about to end. So.
Yes.
Thank you for listening to our rather extended and quite bad recap of the Nürburgring 24 hours. And any last words from our producer?
Nope.
There you go. Goodbye then.
Bye.
Bye.